Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Assessing Livingston Parish with Jeff Taylor. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing great. It's been a little while since we talked and everything, so a lot of things under the bridge we need to talk about.
Yeah, well, I'm ready for it, and of course, we're coming up on November now.
Yes. Well, can you believe it's already?
No.
We're getting ready for Thanksgiving.
I
mean, that's how close we are. November 1st. I mean, tomorrow night's Halloween, and then we're going to go through Thanksgiving. That's going to be real quick.
Yeah.
We're looking at a lot of things with the assessor's office right now. We're getting everything over to the sheriff's office so we can get the notices out, because as we've been talking since February, the notices this year are going to be a little bit tougher to deal with. Yeah. And so we're trying to get all that together so people can have them somewhere around the 15th of November.
Yeah.
If not sooner.
People out there listening, you'll have plenty of notice there in order to make arrangements. I know everybody out there, probably needs to save a little bit for things like this. So,
well, one of the things, Jim, I would tell you, the other day I had a guy come in my office and he was like, if you get them out that time, we don't have time to get things together. Well, you've been knowing since February that it was going up over last year. You know you owe at least what you owed last year. Yeah. So you should have some of that set aside from last year. Yeah. So since February, I've been telling you that these notices were going to come out and the values were going up. And if the districts did not lower their millages, which I told you a few minutes ago, in Dental Springs, we only lowered 12 mills. Yeah. Out of 115, we was only able to lower 12. With all the work we did, the districts only lowered 12 mills. Wow. That's a drop in the bucket. Yeah.
How did your office do on that?
Well, what I asked the districts to do is, look, inflation is 18.5% over the 4 years for this reassessment. Don't go over inflation. Give some of it back to the people because our assessments are going up 40%. So that means that taxes can go up 40 to 45%. I come in at 13.5%. I came in under inflation. So I kept mine good. Very few more came under inflation. They all went above and they took it. And it's not my place to tell them what to do, but it is my place to educate the public on who did. Yeah. And so I think I've done a real good job of that. And
well, you sure have.
And so we've pushed it. And but people need to know again that the tax notices are coming. It's not changing. It comes every year. So if you paid this much last year, there's a good chance you're paying that, at least that this year. But since we know that the values have went up, you're going to be paying more because the districts didn't drop their millages as much as they should have. Yeah. So to come in and say, well, we're not going to have time to pay that, you can be getting it together now, even at this later date. It don't matter when it comes in. You know you owe it. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people want to use the excuse is, well, we didn't get our notice in time. Yeah, you do. You get it in plenty of time, but we open our books in August. Yeah. So you could have known then what your assessment was going to be, but, nobody came in. Right. But we're promising you they're coming in around first part of November as soon as they see that tax bill. And when they come in, this is the way we're going to handle it this year. So and you can go back and you can pull it from the archives. When they walk in the door, I'm going to be there. And I'm going to walk out into my lobby and say, who is here about their taxes? Yeah. And when they raise their hand, I say, you're in the wrong place because your taxes are handled by these 38 districts right here. You need to be calling them and asking them why they didn't lower your millages. Now, if you're here about your assessment, raise your hand. When they raise their hand, did you bring me anything to show that my assessment, my numbers are wrong? Because we've worked real hard over 4 years to make sure that they're right. Don't say that all of them are, but if you've got proof to show that we're wrong, then we're going to take your appraisal, your repairs, whatever it's going to take, we're going to look at them. But if you don't have anything, you need to go home and get something and bring it back in, because we're not just going to say, because that's when you get accused of knowing somebody because you just changed it. You bring in proof and we got it. But if you're here and you got proof, or you want to do a homestead, or if you want to do a veterans freeze or any of the exemptions and everything, we're going to take care of you, because most of it should have been done back in August. And we have for years let people come in when the tax notices go out. When the tax notices go out, it's way too late to come into my office. Yeah. We've just been very kind about doing it and looking at it. But this year, we're going to follow the standard that says, if you're here to talk about your taxes, go talk to the districts. Did any of y'all come to these meetings? The parish-wide one we had 10 people, if you remember. 10. Yeah. 10 people that come in.
Yeah.
Some of the districts, they had a few people come in. But if you're here to talk about your taxes, you're in the wrong place. The assessor has nothing to do with your taxes. All I do is assess property. And so from there, if you want to look at the value of your house, if me and you agree on the value of your house, the rest of it is not my concern. That is the district's.
Yeah, and that's where you got to bring your complaint at that point. And look, they have meetings. We preached them all year that they would have these meetings, and you got to show up for them and let them know that, hey, I don't feel like you should be going above inflation if that's the way you feel. Or if they need to go above that for a legitimate reason, they can explain that at a meeting.
They need to explain it.
Yeah,
not me.
That's
I don't
right.
know what their budget. I don't know what your budget here.
Yeah.
Is with on your podcast. I have no idea what your budget is.
Crazy expensive.
So, crazy expensive. But just imagine me trying to explain your budget.
Right.
That's the same thing that people need to understand. I don't know what people's household income is. So for me to try to explain why they're spending money on restaurants and everything is none of my business.
Right.
That's for you to explain if somebody asks.
I agree. 100%.
And so that's what we're working on with all of that. And so it's going to be a little bit more straightforward this year. But we've got to get out of this mindset for the last 100 years that as soon as you get your tax bill, you run up to the assessor's office. Yeah. It's the wrong place to go. When you get your tax bill, if you're disagreeing with it, you need to call every one of those districts on there and ask them why they didn't lower their millages. Why didn't they give you some help?
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen next year, Jim, the ones that did lower them a little bit and stayed above inflation, next year they're going to go back to their max. And my numbers do not change for 4 years. And all of a sudden your taxes are going to go up even more next year.
Yeah.
Because you're not showing up at the meetings and holding them accountable.
Yeah. Very important. Very important.
Extremely important.
And transparency is everything.
Yep.
In
cannot do any more. We've got billboards. I had a guy tell me the other day I'm on TV more than the attorneys on the news and everything. Because
I see you on WMB.
Absolutely. We went out there. We made it to out in Ken Benitez. We on his. We're on podcasts. I'm on billboards. We have sent out letters. We have done everything that we can say to get ready.
Yeah.
And so after a while, you have to take a little bit of it on yourself and say, you know what? I may not like the fact that they went up, but he did try to tell us.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And there's a record of that. I mean, they can find that, as a matter of fact, you can check out throughout Assessing Livingston Parish and see us talk about this entire year.
When I go to meetings for assessors, they will tell me, we have never seen anybody do that kind of a deal where you have went out there and told them. Most times they try to get quiet.
Sure.
Because especially when a reassessment, they know it's coming, so they get quiet and they duck. I did the opposite. I ran in there and said, fire's coming.
That's right.
Y'all need to be paying attention. So I brought it on myself for 8, 9, 10 months. When I go to restaurants and people calling me everything under the book, under their breath.
Yeah.
But they know I have done the best I can to get them ready for it.
They do, and I see very positive response when I post these videos on Facebook. I have people in the comments all the time say, "Hey, Jeff Taylor's telling it how it is, and he's not hiding from it or trying not to put it at the forefront of people's mind because of what that perception would be. You're out there and you're explaining it better than anyone."
And I will tell you this. When the notices go out, I will be at my office every single day if somebody comes in there and they've got a question about something, unless I am called out for a conference or something that I've got to go to. But other than that, I'm going to be there. I don't run from it.
Yeah.
I'm the one that did the assessments. And if your assessment is wrong, you need to hold me accountable. But if your assessment is right, you need to start looking at who you need to be calling.
That's right. And if you go in there and you have an issue with your assessment, like you said, bring in your pictures. If your slab's cracked in your house, well, Jeff Taylor's doesn't have any way of knowing that. So bring in pictures of that cracked slab or videos or something.
Bring
maybe
me
hold
something.
up a newspaper showing the date.
Yeah, bring me something to show me that you've got that.
Yeah.
Now, appraisal, don't come in with it written on a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
Come in with a true appraisal. It's got to be an arm's length appraisal. I think I told you a little bit earlier that I had a guy come in with 5 rental houses. He had it written on a sheet of paper. I got this appraisal from a guy. I know a guy. You know that old thing of I know a guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the that's not going to work.
That's a bid. That's not an appraisal.
And so what I'm saying is when you come in there, bring a true appraisal.
Yeah.
But I had a guy send me some pictures the other day of his house. He told me, said, I've got roof damage. I didn't know it until we went to repair my chimney, and I've got rot all over my roof. I've got to get a completely new roof. I told him, I said, all you need to do is send me the repair. Bring it in with you, and we're going to fix that. I said, now understand that next year it goes back to where it's supposed to be because that's now repaired.
Right.
Now, you got to go get it repaired if you want the fix on it. So their deal was they're going to be 65, and so they're wanting to freeze it. Well, that's all good and fine, but I don't freeze it at the damage deal. I freeze it when you get it fixed, and that's where it makes sense. That's where it's supposed to be. Yeah. And, you know, we're fighting something, not fighting, we're just looking at coming up here November the 6th. We got the special session coming up. Yeah. And I know that the governor's office is looking at a lot of the exemptions. Yeah. I will tell y'all that the homestead exemption is safe. Good. They're telling me that $75,000 is going to be where it's at. A lot of people don't understand the homestead exemption. They want us to raise the homestead exemption, which is the exact opposite of what you want. Be bad because everybody that's under that amount will help, but everybody that's over that amount, their taxes go up. Yeah. So if you go up to 100, guess what? If your house is worth more than 100,000, your taxes go up. That's right. So that's not really what you want. But some of the exemptions they are looking at. We tell people that we need to pay very much attention to it because your veterans exemptions, your over 65 exemptions, all those things, they're looking at them over at the legislature. Again, next year when it all comes in, when they ask our opinion on it, I told them, I said, look, it doesn't matter to me as long as you let me do my job. What you do with those exemptions, I think we ought to keep them, but you think we ought to get rid of them. That's legislative. Yeah. That has nothing to do with the assessor. My job is to make sure that whatever the legislature passes and the governor signs, I implement it. Yeah, that's what my job is.
Yeah, and you know that's your state people. So your legislators from Livingston Parish. Let's name them real quick.
Well, you got Representative Kelly Hennessy. You've got Shane Mack. You got Roger Wilder, and you got Jeff Wiley. On our Senate side, you've got Mr. Bill Wheat. You've got Senator Hodges, Valerie Hodges. You've got Brother Rick, and you've got Brother Rick Edmonds, and you also got Eddie Lambert down south. So we have, when you look at what we've got, there's 105 in the House of Representatives. We got 4. So you got about 3.5% of that vote. Over in the Senate, though, we've got 4, and they've only got 39. Yeah. So we've got more than 10% of the senators that represent us.
Wow.
And so they've done a job, and so we call them and they go to work on it and they try to help us as much as we can. But it goes back to this other thing. I'm not going to be satisfied next year if you tell me I got $10 million. Yeah. Same thing we talked about the other day. Yeah. Because $10 million when I'm sitting there looking at Ascension Parish getting 70, I'm never going to be okay with that. Yeah. Ever.
Yeah. It's why not Livingston Parish? Yeah, as you always say.
Why not Livingston Parish? Why can't we get in there and get these things accomplished? And because we got shovel ready, we got people that so much want to be here that we're the fastest growing parish in the state. Yes. So don't tell me that we don't have a need out here. Yeah. We do. And we've got our parish president that's sitting there fighting for everything we can possibly get. From what I understand the other night, he has got the authority now to sign for a $20 million grant from the Amite River Basin Commission. Yeah. That's $20 million. Yeah. That's now, if you don't want that $20 million,
I want it.
Somebody else in that district's going to want it.
Oh, you better believe it. You know what they're
going to do? They're going to take it and they're going to smile. They're going to pat you on the back and say, hey, man, thanks for fighting that over there. Yeah. Because we now have it over here. And so, all those little things.
Very interesting. And look, the year has flown. Y'all have done a real good job of handling your business at the assessor's office, and you're already well into next year.
We're working on next year already. Look, the thing that we changed this year was come August the 29th, we started working on 25. Yeah. Whereas before, we would wait around till the tax notices go out. I don't have time to do that. Yeah. You want to know why we don't have the time?
Why?
Because we went from having about 38 employees down to 27.
Yeah, wow.
So we've been very good about making sure that we don't hire people in because technology has helped.
Sure.
But in doing that, I also needed to make some changes in the way we did some things. Instead of waiting so late into the year, we start doing it the day the books close back up. The books open August 15th. They close the 29th. We immediately roll over, and we're running at that point. And so you've got to do that to be ready, because one of the things I told you last time is I'm trying to figure out why we're doing tax notices in November and December. Why not do them up closer to August?
Yeah.
And that's a legislative thing. We got to get, that's a constitutional. But why are we waiting till November to send them out? When our numbers are due in May, if I start doing this in August, then I can have my numbers ready by about January the 30th. And then we can start sending these things out. And so by about May or June, we can possibly send notices out. Yeah. It's a complete different way of thinking. And sometimes I think way outside the box.
It's a good idea, though, and it gives people more time to prepare.
Yeah, and then what about this one? I had a guy come in the other day, and I sat down with him. I said, what if we set up a program that says, instead of you having to pay it all up front, if we can get these things out earlier in the year, what if you make 3 payments of it?
Yeah.
If you owe $1,000, you pay $333 3 months in a row.
Right.
And all of a sudden it helps you a little bit.
Huge.
Okay. So all of those things are things that my brain sits there at night when everybody's sleeping and I'm up at 2:30 and they're saying, why do you have a text from you at 2:30? Because my brain said, why don't we stretch this out into 4 payments for people? And it's just like a credit card, a life insurance or a boat insurance or anything like that. If you choose the 4 options, you pay a handling fee.
Yeah.
And that handling fee goes to whoever.
Yeah.
It don't goes to me because I don't collect.
Yeah.
But it goes to whoever. But it gives you a chance to spread that out over 4 times.
Yeah. And that's big. That's a big deal to me.
Oh, that's a big deal. Big deal. And all of a sudden I get up and I start scratching things around. I'm writing them all down and everything. And my office is like,
yeah.
What time did you sleep last night? I pretty much did not.
I love it. I love it. Well, and they got a big election, of course, coming up here in the next couple of days, both locally and nationally. So I'm sure, just vote.
Yeah, just vote.
Vote. Make sure you get your voice heard.
And I told my kids, I said, if you don't vote, do not come in and start complaining about anything that's happening in government. If you vote, even if you lose, if you voted, you have a right to say. If you don't vote, I think you lose your right to tell me how bad of a job I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And look, man, I was impressed. My kids this year, all of them were ready to vote. Hey, and I got 19-year-old girls now, and my son's 21, but they were ready to jump in the car and let's all go vote. And we did it together, and it was great. It was fun.
So this is their major election. Yeah, this is their first presidential.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So I made sure that I told them who to vote for.
Yeah. Well, my first one was Ronald Reagan.
What, really?
My first national race was Ronald Reagan.
That's a great one to vote for.
That was a good one to vote for.
Yeah, very good. Well, always fun talking to you, and we'll see y'all back in December, I guess, or late November. But Jeff, always a pleasure to have you on, and if something happens before then, come on the show, and we'll put it out there.
You've always been good to me. Thanks for letting us get our message out this year.
100%.
It was very huge that we was able to do that.
Yeah.
I think it has helped a lot.
Yeah.
Although, like I said, when the notices go out, people are going to be coming into the office. But I'm going to give you updates, and I'd like to do this every 2 weeks to let you know how things are going.
Absolutely.
In the office. And so we'll get through Thanksgiving and then Christmas. But our goal is to really get them out to here to you about the 15th. But you don't have to wait till the 15th to start setting aside.
That's right.
You could have started doing this back in February. So if you want to do the 4, if you think about it, if you want to do the 4 payment deal, pick your 4 months that you want to do them, June, July, August, September, set it aside, and you've got it taken care of. Now, that's very simple because people have economy that has really shot a hole in a lot of their budgets. Sure. And so I understand that. But the tax bill is still due. Yeah. And here's one of the things that we need to know. People come in and say, people can't afford it with inflation doing this and then the cost of insurance and everything. I don't have anything to do with inflation. I don't have anything to do with insurance, and I feel for you. If your insurance doubled, I feel for you. But that has zero to do with, so if your insurance doubled, I'm supposed to lower the assessments to where they're not where they're supposed to be. That's not what the law says. The law says I've got to do this. So I empathize with you. I do. And I understand that inflation went up, and I understand that gas went up, and I understand that all of these things happened. But if you read the Constitution, what does my job say? It says that you've got to make the assessments fair and equitable.
And you do that.
And I try to do that.
There's no doubt about it. And look, fuss at your insurance agent.
Yep.
Go fuss at him. Yep. Talk to your state people and tell them, hey, I want my insurance rates lower. And that's who you talk to. It it ain't the assessor in Livingston Parish. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I got you. You're right. It all went up. And if you look at mine went up too. But
Same here.
to come in, that's the argument they use. They say, I don't know how people are going to do it. Their insurance went up. Okay, I got you. You're in here in the assessor's office.
Yeah.
The insurance company's down the road. Like you said, go talk to them.
Talk to them.
You know, so.
That's it. Well, thank you very much. And
you.
We'll see you next time.